We're joined now by Kieran O'Connell of Regional ahead of what is a huge game at the weekend, Kieran, against Newmarket in the last 16 of the FAI Junior Cup. But before we come on to that, obviously it's been a good season in cup terms for you, and I suppose in the league to a degree. You're in the top six now in the Premier for the second consecutive year of that format. I suppose from a player's point of view, and you're looking at your teammates, would that be the minimum you expected out of the group of players you have, or do you think it's a good achievement to get there?
It's the minimum. I think the club has high enough standards. Our achievements every year is to be competitive in the league. Obviously, it's hard to compete with some of the teams in the league with what they can do. But no, bare minimum is top six since it's been formatted. And to be honest, the last 16 in Munster Junior, last 16 of FAI is what's expected at this club, and to go on further really.
Yeah, I have mentioned that, Regional have a big tendency to go far in cup competitions. Maybe the league form isn't as consistent every year, but you always get to maybe last 16s, last 8s, last 32s minimum. You had a really tough tie against Strand Celtic from Sligo in the last outing. I know that you got the winning goal to take the team through, but I suppose that type of tie will bode well going into later rounds, because you probably were slight favourites going into the game, and it's good when you are favourites to get over the line no matter what way.
Yeah, Strand were actually a really good side, very well organised. They actually had their homework done on us. They came with a new kind of formation, and they set up really well to stop us from playing and stopped us really kind of doing what we wanted to do. So kind of a different kind of game. But yeah, it was good to get over there with a win. It's nice to be favourites in a few games as well and kind of get over the line and stuff like that. We're kind of written off a lot before we kind of even kick a ball sometimes. But yeah, we were favourites. We came out with the win into the next round.
Speaking of one game where you might have been written off, it was probably Pike Rovers last week in the league. You got the 1-1 draw, you got another late goal yourself. You're putting a lot of Houdini acts on at the moment, but I suppose Pike that was only the second goal as well Pike conceded in the league. If you're looking at it that way, I know Aidan Ryan often says that he's looking for Nina and Regional to make an impact now in the top six this year, rather than maybe being, like you said, written off every week. Will that give your team the belief now, getting a draw against a team that are top of the league and are showing good form in the league, from here on in? Yeah,
it definitely can hamper us anyway. It definitely won't hurt our confidence going into these future games. Yeah, we didn't make any dent really in the top six, top four teams last year in the league. That's a fair point, but we still did beat Pike in the Munster Junior last year. It's good to get a point off from there at home, even though Pike were dominant in the second half and we kind of came up with a second goal, but many times we've played Pike and we've been the better team and come away on a 1-0 defeat. So very happy to get out there with a draw and put us in good stead for this Sunday.
We know obviously between yourself and Dave and Andy Cowper, you've got Rob Shower, you do have experience. There's been a lot of younger players come into the team as well, with Sean as well this year, like Shane Carmody, Owen Duff, Philippe Mostawi, so Mostavi should I say soon. So how have those players embedded into the team this year?
Excellent, yeah. All the lads you've mentioned, and even the ones who haven't, are top young lads. They're really good. Young fellas kind of get a slander now these days of being like snowflakes and all that kind of stuff. These fellas aren't really like that, in fairness to them. They come in, they work hard, they train hard. They're not in the starting 11. They might have a bit of a hump, but they don't show it. They really, like, we win games. Some of the lads are the first people in here to shake our hand and high five or congratulate you on a great win, and they're tuning at the bit on Tuesday to come and get back into the starting 11 to try and get Sean to change his mind and Shane. So they've been great additions to the squad, and the bit of youth is no harm because a few of us have pushed on a small bit.
I suppose they would have been lost without you the last couple of weeks really, but looking at the new way, I suppose it's not a new way, but Sean Russell, obviously we know from, and we always talk about it on our podcast as well, he didn't lick it off a stone in terms of the way he wants to play with Martin Russell. But in fairness, Regional have always had that tendency anyway to play like that. So has it been a massive change in the way that Sean wants you to play?
Not a complete massive change, a lot more detail, a lot more specific. Sean works really hard on the training ground with us to implement his style of play. We've always played out from the back, so it's a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for, persistent maybe. He kind of wants us to do it no matter what, which is totally fine. We're very okay with that. We've got some probably two of the better centre backs in the league to play out from the back, and a great keeper with his feet, so we've no real problems with it. We train very hard with it, so we're comfortable with it.
Obviously, it's a very risk and reward. It's entertaining to watch. coming into this game on Sunday, obviously Newmarket, they're second currently in the Clare League. They've game in hand, if I'm right, on Avenue, so they're rightly in the mix, as you'd expect in Clare. They have dominated in Clare for the last few years, but they are a club who, I know you've had some misdemeanours in the past in terms of the semi-final years ago, but they have always been, in terms of the Munster Junior and the FAI later rounds as well, suffering heartbreak, particularly against Pike recently in the last maybe 3 to 4 years. Do you think that kind of makes them more dangerous because they'll have even more of a motivation now to win than ever?
Yeah, of course, they've been in those kind of stages a lot more recently than kind of maybe us. We'll say they've gotten to more semi-finals recently than us, maybe quarter-finals as well. So a few of them are also kind of getting a little bit older, so they'll want to get over that line at some stage as well. So that'll definitely drive them on. So they will be a tough test for us on Sunday. Something I'm looking forward to, something I'm not fearful of. To kind of looking forward to the challenge of playing them. They came out here a couple of years ago in the Munster Junior, I think in the last 16, and we lost the game 1-0, went down to 10 men early, and they held on for a 1-0 win. So it'd be nice to kind of get a bit of revenge for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does look like it's going to be another tight game if you were to look at it on paper. I suppose what would be your message to the younger players in the squad? You can't really have fear going into a game like this. Is there that sense among them, or would they be a kind of a fearful enough bunch?
No, there's actually no fear there. For instance, they're buzzing last night.
Fearless, actually.
Yeah, fearless. They are a fearless bunch. Yeah, Tuesday training was good. Even Sunday against Pike, they weren't fearing going up playing the league leaders and only conceded 1 goal. The message is go express yourself. At the end of the day, it's junior soccer. We're playing 11 junior players. Go out and express yourself, play how you want to play, and play how Sean wants us to play as well. And if we're not good enough on the day, we're not good enough. If we're good enough, we'll progress.
I suppose I alluded to it earlier in the piece, but you know, you had that heartache of 2018. I was here on the day. It was an unbelievable comeback. I was nearly out the gate myself when you actually came back. It was that late. Obviously, we know the heartbreak that happened afterwards. I suppose years have gone by now, Kieran, but you know, will you be thinking about things like that on Saturday night, Sunday morning, that you know this is the chance to avenge that maybe?
No, when I think about it, I thought about it enough when it happened, to be honest. So that's kind of, I've done enough thinking about it, to be honest. So it's kind of swept under the carpet now at this stage. This is just another last 16 game. We've been in these. I've been in these a lot. Like a few names you rambled off: Rob Shire, Tommy Frawley, Andy, Dave, even Ewan. I think was involved that quarter final that year. So we've been at this stage. A lot of us have been last 16. A lot of us have been quarterfinals, and myself and Dave have been involved in the semi-final of this competition. So yeah, it's nothing new to us. We'll look forward to it, and we'll try and get over the line, and we won't worry about past. That's all done and dusted. We'll try and move on for the future. Yeah,
and I suppose home advantage is going to be a big one as well, because I know people talk about trying to, you know, make the pitch look small. You can't, if you have a big support there on the line, you're literally right on top of the players and the pitch as well. So I mean, that surely will be some bit of advantage if you can get that support.
Yeah, it's actually a great pitch for when there's a big crowd at the game. So like you said, they're literally on the touchline. If you go for any kind of 50-50 on the sideline, you're hitting someone in the crowd and they're bouncing off a cage. So it's good atmosphere here. I'm sure Newmarket will bring a big crowd as well. It's only been half an hour over the road, so looking forward to it. It should be a really, really good game of